Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? What's going on? So this is the breakdown review, whatever. I watched this. This is on Brad Cook's channel, 217. You guys check out that channel. It's the best quality videos you can imagine. Brad's amazing. Um, so I watched this briefly after he uploaded it, like within like the hour of the match. I remember watching it in the hotel room once on my phone real quick, but I didn't really like get really super deep into it. So I'll kind of live this with you guys and walk you guys through kind of my mindset and what I was thinking kind of in the match and what I was feeling, I guess, and things like that. Yeah, I mean, this is I told you I'll make this, so let's get into it, huh? All right. So let me lower the volume a little bit. So yeah, Austin, beast. This guy is a monster with a big old beard. Look at this guy. Um, so I was in a good mind place, mind headspace for this. Um, that was a big focus for me. For those of you guys that have been watching me for a little while, you've seen matches where I've been in it, where Derek's all crazy and angry, and he's getting it done. I feel like I was in that headspace for my Tom Nelson match, Tim Bresnan match. I honestly feel like I was kind of in that headspace for Rivaz too, although it didn't pan out. I feel like I was just too weak. So going into this, that was very important to me was to find that headspace. Now you guys got to remember, this is my fifth super like high level super match, right? I'm not Devin Laird, who's had 400 of these, and these other guys. Like, this is like number 5 for me. And so I'm still doing tons of tweaks and stuff and realizing what works best for me and stuff in terms of energy and energy expenditure and how to prep for these matches. Now I'm dialing it in. I'm learning, and I'm learning how to handle travel better and better, and like how to get the how to tweak the headspace. But it's still something I'm working on. So for this one, it was definitely a super high priority for me to have a lot of energy and to feel beast mode going into this. That was a very high priority for me. So I'm in it. Even though we're just joking around out there, I'm in it. I'm shaking. I'm ready to go. Right. All right. So gripping up here. Plan was to have the elbow front right, and to so going into this, I didn't know it was going to be wall setup, all that stuff. They told me about 20 minutes before the match, so where they have to set your fingers and all that stuff. Prior to this, the plan was to maintain some height in my hand, more like a high hook, similar to what I did to Tim Bresnan. I can feel in the setup, though, let's see if it shows it here. Once we start getting our grip, you're going to see me yell and scream here in a second, I believe, if I remember correctly. So I'm trying to get my knuckles up a little bit. So on these ones, a couple of these happen. Actually, before we go too far into this, on these little tweaks here, on these little false starts, or these fouls, what I was feeling in my hand, was I excited to cup and go high sideways? Yes, of course. Like I just said, that was the plan. But it was also at the same time, it felt to me, and I know later on, I think Austin even, I think he admits it, I think later on in the match, or in a round, but he was also carving in and cupping, right? So he was liking to do this. So if he carves in, if he supinates and cups, with my hand's on top, then it makes my hand do this naturally. So from the outside perspective, it looks like I'm initiating all the cupping because Bart's staring at the back of my wrist. And you'll hear here in a couple rounds, I'm like, yo, he's supinating and cupping in. But in that moment, the reason I'm screaming, I'm so pumped up right there, is that I felt good in the hand. The hand dominance felt good. Even though we just closed it, we just got started, I felt like I could do what I wanted. I felt like it was going well. I liked the way that felt. So elbow still front right. Close your thumbs. Right there. Close your hand. Go. Right. So, like I said, Austin wasn't afraid to hook. Right. I know. Generally likes to top roll, but I think he even told me after the match that he was willing to try a few different things: hook, top roll, and see how it worked. So this one, I believe he was trying to hook. I mean, see, look at. I mean, he's okay supinating in there. Now my hand felt dominant. Now you'll notice my elbow is not inside my body, right? And I'm going to try. I'm pinning here just through hand control, through back pressure and cupping. I'm able to pin him through there. Now, so I'm using my brachialis, some biceps, and rising and stuff in my wrist, but a ton of cup and sideways is what got it. Now, it was out of position. My elbow was out of position. As you guys can see, having my elbow tucked in, having my elbow across the pad when I do that pin is a way more efficient way to pin somebody. Now, that's going to play a bigger deal in later rounds. You guys are going to see. It's just a sign of me rushing it, right? It's a sign of me not being in the best position and rushing the pin a little bit early. Okay. Wait, why is the crowd not cheering for me? What? Oh, because I'm big, huh? Everybody expects me to win, so I don't get cheered for. All right. So that one felt good. I feel dominant in there. The hand did what I wanted it to do. In that moment, there's no need to change anything, right? Hand felt dominant, sideways, couple, quick surges, no problems, right? At this point, I'm still beast mode in the head. Hand is dominant. I'm doing what I want. It might not be the most efficient way, but at this point, I'm like, it's not going to matter, right? I'm too much, right? That's how it feels in this moment. So we're setting up here. Once again, my hand feels dominant. I'm not too worried about coverage and what I'm going to get on his hand because I feel like I can get a mediocre grip and still be fine. Now this one, I believe Austin decides to top roll. Shoulders tight, grip. Okay, that one I could say is mine because Austin was trying to top roll, so he's not trying to carve in. But they're calling that foul on me. Now, I'm not used to these running foul rules. You guys can see a lot of people are commenting like Derek looks so confused. I'm trying to figure this out. Like, okay, it's a foul in a setup if I move. I'm still trying to learn the running foul rules, the WAL setup, because this is what they do on the East Coast. On the West Coast, we don't do this. So I'm learning on the fly here. One big lesson I took away from this as well is ironing all this stuff out ahead of time, like to the T. Now I kind of understand why Devin Laird is so big on wanting to know the rules and being set on everything that's going on, because I'm learning on the fly in terms of the rule set. All right, so Austin tries to roll out. I go forward a little bit and scoop because the hand just feels too good. Like I can control his hand at will. So the elbow bobble, you could see my arm was shaking or whatever because he was rolling out. It was a lot to cup him in and stay down. So my elbow was doing some bobbles. Not arguing the call. Elbow looked like it was bobbling. So I end up pinning him through that, right? So I got a foul in the setup and then a foul with the elbow bobble. But hand just feels too good. So I believe he keeps trying to top roll here. Right. So there's pin number 2. Now, at this point, I am still, hand feels good, man. He can run, he can hook, whatever. My hand is going to do what it wants. This is my mindset during the match, right? I'm thinking, okay, my hand is going to be dominant no matter what. I'm feeling too good. He's kind of living and dying by his hand too because he's contesting my hand at this point. He's trying to beat it in a top roll. He's trying to beat it with a hook. He's trying to beat my hand, and my hand is just too dominant, and I can feel that. So still, I'm not arm wrestling super efficiently. I'm not doing everything that I even preach in my seminars, right? I'm not establishing hand control, tightening everything up, and getting ready to pin and then pinning. I'm not doing it perfectly because I feel in that moment that I'm just too strong. Like I can be a little bit messy. I can be a little bit messy, and I'm just too strong right now. So I think I even say to the camera right here, yeah, keep running, right? So yeah, keep running. That's fine. I'll chase you and get a hold of you. Meaning, keep running and try to use your hand to beat me. Keep trying to evade, and I'll keep controlling and going sideways, right? So there's 3 pins so far, right? Yeah, I've done. One of them didn't count because I was on a runner. There we go, setting up, planning for the same thing. So that's why I'm like, he's carving in. See, I'm telling him, and Bart says, yeah, he owes you a drink. He must be real sneaky about it. So I'm not denying it. So Austin goes. I catch him to a hook. I feel good again. Austin is strong, super strong bicep. That one. Let's just watch my elbow here for a second. I mean, I guess that one's a little questionable. I'm watching my elbow just to see because I know they're going to call foul here. And I feel like my forearm is still in touch with the pad, but my tip of my elbow is coming up. Like it's bobbling, but I feel like my forearm is still in play. So, there's pin number 4. Now, my arm has done the work to pin 4 times, right? Like, and only 2 of them count because of fouls. So in terms of energy expenditure, I have driven and been offensive 4 times successfully now in this match. Controlling, stopping, bringing everything back, full contraction, and to the side, which takes a ton of energy, right? So I can't see the fouls, whatever, during the match. You work with what you're called. So Austin tries a top roll and then back into a hook. Now, this is where I start feeling it, guys. This is where I start feeling my inner elbow, right here, losing power, losing side power or side pressure, right? And so when your inner elbow starts dying out like that, then as soon as the inner elbow dies, then immediately your chest starts getting taxed, your shoulder, and then everything starts becoming more isolated. Your bicep and your brachialis, your muscles start getting more isolated. Now Austin's got to stop on me here. Arguably, I could have maybe tried to attempt to roll out here, but I've been successful these other rounds, right? So why try other things? He had just faded the round before in the same position. So my positioning. So in that one, they call a foul on me, right? And I'm trying to process. So I'm in a shitty position. I feel like I'm losing it. My elbow's gassed, right? He's starting to bring me back. The elbow's pretty much done. I can't. I'm not gonna be able to go sideways anymore. Then they call an elbow foul on me, which means I'll need to pin him twice, right, in order to win this match. So in my brain right then, I was like, well, I'm not gonna keep fighting in a bad position, right? And so in my mind, in that second, it made sense. I was like, okay, let me just let up and try to conserve some energy right there because I'm in a horrible position. So I stand up, I look at Bart, and I kind of lay it down because I'm thinking about conserving energy because my elbow was dead. I'm hoping I can heal up a little bit right here and get some more gas back in the tank. Yeah. So basically what they're saying is true, right? That I'm dying out, he has life left, and my arm's fading, which is true. Now, this is the point where I know that my inner elbow is done. Now, if I could look back and go into this match, if I go back in time and redo this match, first couple rounds, I would have been trying more patient and trusted my strength, been more efficient, and probably went to the straps to better tax his arm and open everything up. I would have rather gone to the straps the first couple rounds. In retrospect, obviously we can't go back in time, but by now, right now, my inner elbow is dying. Now people keep asking, why doesn't Derek press? I'd love to see Derek press. Why didn't Derek press? A couple things go into that. One, I haven't pressed in forever. I don't train it. I haven't been practicing it. Definitely my fault. Nobody else's fault but mine. Something I need to work on. But when your inner elbow is dead like that, or for those of you guys that arm wrestle, or for those of you guys that know what I'm talking about, for those of you guys that don't know arm wrestle, your inner elbow and your side pressure, when you transition into a press, there's a moment where your elbow needs to hold up before you get your shoulder behind it, right? That inner elbow pressure is what you need to transition into a press really well. When your inner elbow is dying, then not only have I not been practicing a press, but I don't have the confidence or the strength to make that transition in my mind, right? So people are saying press, and in the comments people are saying, why didn't Derek press? I didn't feel confident from down here in that transition to press. I felt like my inner elbow wouldn't be able to hold up. So I'm trying to think of a way. Now I know my hand is too dominant for him, but my arm is starting to get taxed. So people say, why didn't you go to the straps? Here. At this point, the arm is fading. I'm not going to time a rope around my arm to his arm when my arm is dead or dying, right? I know I still have hand dominance. I know my hand is still comfortable. So I'm going to keep going with that. I'm going to keep going with hand control the best I can. But the arm is dying. Austin's tightening up. His bicep feels good. See, I'm trying to go sideways, but you see my arms, the inner elbow is dying. So they call another runner. They call another running foul on me, Kind of in the same time, I'm like, I saw him tightening up, getting his shoulder behind it. For me to continue to fight like that from that angle when he started tightening up like that and they called a runner. Oh, and when they called the foul on that one, they just said foul, running foul, I believe, and they didn't say the name. And so I turned to look at the ref, I believe, if I remember this correctly. Yeah, he said runner, and I didn't know if they called it on Austin or on me, so I kind of turned to look at Bart, and then I was just in too bad of a position, so I laid it down. So round 3 here, I still have. I know since I have hand dominance in my opinion on Austin during this, I'm thinking, okay, let's top roll and try to finish it as effectively as possible. I've been trying to control and go sideways. Let's try to top roll. So I know Austin's on a runner here, and so I don't mind laying down. Austin's on a runner, and he has to get a restart, and so he starts carving in, and I'm like, I'm not going to try to fight through this right now and kill my arm even more. This is all energy conservation I'm trying to do at this point, right? So you see me posting my forearm up, and I'm trying to get my webbing high because I'm going to attempt a low hand top roll. I'm dumping my riser. I'm okay dumping my riser in this one, and trying to get my forearm vertical so I can roll out. So that's why I was confused. I felt Austin started that. Okay. So Austin has 2 fouls right here. So here we go, attempting a top roll. Still, even in this angle right here, guys, I'm top roll, but it still requires side pressure to pin. Still requires side pressure on that elbow to pin. So yes, I had the advantage of the hand, but the side pressure is still necessary. Now Austin's able to contain on his bicep without his wrist and starts creeping forward with that shoulder. Now, I'm okay slipping going to the straps at this one. So little bobbles there. Okay, I saw it. Now, you guys see me drop my weight here, go to the table to try to finish the roll, and they call 2 fouls to 1. Let me show you guys real quick. That little move right there gave me this big old scab I have on my knee. My knee was bleeding everywhere after that. It was the ground had the grip tape on it. The platform did. And I slammed my knee on the ground and ground my elbow or my knee on the grip tape, and it was bleeding everywhere. That was the only injury I sustained. So at this point, I know we're going to straps. I know I can still take his wrist. I already know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to take his wrist and he's going to engage with that press, kind of like it keeps playing out that way. He's getting too comfortable, shoulder forward. I'm dying with the side pressure. I can still roll, but the pinning part is just this part of my arm, the inner bicep and the inner elbow is just so done. It's so done at this point that I'm hoping I can roll out so far, just lean back, that he'll just end up like, I stretch him out so much that he can't contain, but not the highest of hopes. Now, we end up going sideways. I didn't get the roll that I wanted to. It was too deep in the setup. Austin gets his shoulder behind it. At that moment, pretty much right when he went in the hook, I haven't watched this part that closely yet. Okay. So it looks like I cupped in a little too hard with my bottom 2 fingers because I've been trying to control Austin the whole time with my hand. So I got so used to clamping him tight and not letting go, besides the last round, that you can see me clamping down with my bottom 2. When in reality, especially as a top roll, I should be opening up my fingers and being more offensive. I end up trying to hold on. Now that allows us to stay tighter in the palm because I'm holding on with him, which will allow him to sink in a hook. Right? Now, once I feel it going into a hook, I'm like, all right, let's try this shoulder forward. Let's try to get tight. But it doesn't matter. Even if I get tight, that inner elbow still has to hold up, right? And it starts opening up on me right away. Yep, there it goes. Now, he's opened up, but at the same time, he's been trusting on his bicep palm up so much that his inner elbow isn't nearly as dead because he hasn't been fighting as much inner elbow. He's been holding with his bicep, right? So I just have no sideways. I can't pin him through his bicep. I don't have enough elbow to pin through his bicep. I see that shoulder gets behind it. That's it. So Shout out to 217 and Brad Cook for film this and putting out the great videos. Yeah, guys, this match, people have been asking, what it does, what it means for me. I don't know. And the biggest thing is that I wanted to not be too weak. That after my last matches or whatever, I was too weak. This one, I didn't want to be too weak. I don't feel like I was too weak. So I'm not taking it that hard. I'm not that depressed about it. There's some tweaks I need to make. The whole thing could have been different had I not. A few people have mentioned, had I not rushed it. One big takeaway is that I got so in my head about being aggressive that I was pinning inefficiently. With those first 2 rounds. And so by pinning inefficiently, I was leaving my elbow out there and putting extra pressure on my inner elbow. I was taxing it harder than it needed to be taxed to accomplish the mission, which in later rounds ended up screwing me. Right? Later rounds, because I put so much pressure on trying to pin out of position and go sideways in those first couple rounds, I was just putting way more work in on my arm than I needed to do, right? Because I was so out of my mind hyped up, right? So, lesson learned, right? Still get hyped up, but I'm finding I got to find that balance of being more technical, being in the moment and controlling it while still having that anger and that strength. You know what I mean? It's that balance, which is something I'm working on and I need to fix. I wish I would have went to the straps first couple rounds. But who knows? Can't go back in time. Can't do that. It is what it is. So now it's just updating the training. As of right now, I haven't been getting much table time, high-level table time. And so I plan to start getting a lot more table time. And I'm trying to find a way to dial that in with the gym because I still have to get stronger and still move up my top-end strength for sure while conditioning my arms and getting better endurance and all the things. So all the things. But definitely putting an emphasis on endurance. Also, practicing my moves, getting more comfortable being offensive rather than trying to contain and use strength, like controlling and things like that. But these are things that I feel like I can work on that aren't outlandish, right? So yeah, I'm not super depressed. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going into just commentating or anything like that. This is fine. Like, I took a loss on some things like that I think are easily fixable. Austin was amazing. His endurance and stuff was great. They told me right after Austin arm wrestles twice a week, and I'm like, oh no. I haven't been not significantly like at practice, like killing it. So anyway, there you guys go. There was my thoughts looking at the match, my thoughts while I was in the match. Hopefully you guys like that. These little breakdowns I do for you. Once again, all credit to Austin. Really excited to see what he does from here. You guys don't count me out. This is in terms of my potential or where I'm going. I don't see this as affecting it in the slightest. But only time will tell. Only time will tell. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I love you guys to death. You guys are amazing. And it's Wednesday. I'll see you guys live in a few hours. All right, see you.